What is up, Haunters, and welcome back to another unboxing video. Of course, it's my 4th of the season now, I believe. But yeah, of course, today I stopped by Home Depot and I got this guy right here, the new 6.5 foot Raven, which honestly, this guy right here, he might be my favorite from Home Depot this season, or at least from the Canadian lineup. I can't remember for the US stuff, there wasn't anything that really stood out as better than this guy. But yeah, he's a really good one, and I know a lot of people are going to hate me calling this guy the best one this year because, of course, the app scale exists. I know a lot of people say he's the best, but honestly, I just love the detail more in this guy, and the animation they reused from the Plague Doctor last year is also really cool. So overall, just one I had to get. This is probably the only one I'm getting from Home Depot for full price. Once it goes on clearance, maybe I'll get more, but yeah, of course, I'm going to be unboxing this guy today. So with that said, that's enough talk for the intro. Let's, of course, get right into checking this guy out. And to start off, let's of course take a quick look at the box, see what we're messing with today. Of course, as you can see, it's got the Home Depot branded Home Extends Holiday. And of course, it's got that purple background, which the only one I have with the purple background is of course these pumpkin twins from 2021, I believe. Of course, some other guys have got like Dean right here and then Jack down there. They just came in these like boxes. Yeah, of course, like that purple color on the box. Yeah, they can see the guy we're dealing with today. Very similar to Plague Doctor last year. Of course, they did change the look of him and everything, but it's pretty much reuses the same animation. Everything, like he's got the staff right there. He pushes out. He's got like the side motion. I think Plague Doctor did have a lantern too. Of course, now we have a Raven version, which overall, I really love the design of this. Now, I may have to say Plague Doctor is a little bit better, but this guy is still a really good reskin. Of course, you can see right here, simply just known as the Raven. No special names or anything. Of course, indoor and outdoor covered. I'm curious if I could use him outdoor because Plague Doctor last year was outdoor. This guy for some reason isn't outdoor rated, but I don't know if I do even use him outdoors. It's just going to be for Halloween night anyways. Then you can see head, mouth, and right arm move. Speaks 5 different phrases. I love the phrases on this guy. And of course also has a lights only function, so you can have it with just the eyes and then the little staff and the lantern light up. Tons of cool features on this guy, and he's only coming at 200 Canadian and also 200 USD. That's a weird thing with this guy. There's no conversion rate for him for some reason. 200 Canadian, then 200 in the US, which is weird, but honestly a really good deal for, again, like 6.5 foot. This guy's massive. Yeah, anyways, that is him right there, so let's go unbox so we can get him set up and check him out. Alright, and I am hoping that he works and everything. Of course, this box, there's a little bit of damage on the one side. There's like a little hole ripped in it, like something bumped into it. It looks like where there is the hole is just where his hand is, so it's not the mechanism or anything, so it should be alright, but I guess we'll see. Of course, the Model 2 I saw in store, the arm mechanism wasn't working. I think it was like caught on something because I did hear it trying to go, but oh well, hopefully he works because it would suck to have to return this and then go through the process of getting new and everything. Yeah, let's of course lay this guy down right here. And of course, I'll point you all down a little bit to see a little bit better like what we're dealing with here. Of course, there's a piece of cardboard here on top. Of course, first thing we have right here, this looks to be his clothing. Just taking it out, yes, this does seem to be the clothing. Pretty simple, it's just the black look right there. Looks like we got some rope going around right here. There's a little button, that must be his IR sensor maybe? It's like in here we've got some other parts for him. It seems to be like the feathery stuff. Of course, getting this, so yeah, there's like a bunch of feathers on this. I think this is that sort of goes around like the neck and the head. And you're right there, that's sort of what we got right there. It looks like, yeah, it's the hood that goes over his head. Just right there and everything, but that is awesome. I love all those feather details. It's awesome. And next up, we got a piece of his staff right here. You know, it's just this nice, like, molded plastic thing, but looks awesome. Next up here, this looks to be the arm with the lantern. Which, of course, right there, you can see that as a lantern. It looks awesome. That's, like, pretty big, too. Look on here, you can see it does still have, like, these cords that were used on the outdoor rated ones, so I don't know. I'm really curious why it's not saying it's outdoor rated this year, but that lantern right there looks awesome. It did break out of the hole right there, but stick that back in. There we go. You can see just kind of like holding it there and everything. Next up here, we got a piece of foam. I assume that's for the legs. We've also got this right here, another piece of the staff. It's probably another 1 or 2 more in here. Ooh, and right here, this looks to be the head. Yeah, look at that. That is insane. This head right here, it's all molded plastic, so that is nice. Now you can see he's got like his eyes right in there, and it looks awesome. A little bit goofy head on, but yeah, that looks so cool. I love the design on that. And next up here, right here is, of course, his hip loop. And there's a little frame right there to support him. And carrying on, right here is, of course, the arm. You can see right there is the little head. That's the end of the staff that he holds. This is the piece right here. You can see, like, this is where it bends out to cool animation. It's called, like, jump scare. She uses these like interesting hinges right here, which can be pretty well built. And here, of course, looks like we have the adapter as well as a little guide how to set this guy up scene, which that's kind of interesting. It's a little booklet, and each page is like different steps. Kind of reminds me of like setting up IKEA furniture, kind of. That's different than just the big pages of stuff. That right there is kind of cool. A little booklet. But of course, you can see right here, this is the adapter, which again, it's like that outdoor rated ones, which yeah, I'm really curious. Like, is this guy still outdoor rated? I have no idea. Of course, as you can see on here, it is a Pan Asian Creations one, which is cool. My first Pan Asian Creations animatronic in a while, actually. Oh, and no way, look at this. It actually comes with a little try me button. I didn't know they were doing that this year, but that's cool. That's like different than the try me buttons they use in the store, so I don't think that is like for the display for this. I think it just comes with it for some reason, but that's nice. It's got little pins right here, a few of those. Of course, in here is the other piece for the adapter. As you can see, it's a nice, yeah, like outdoor raid one. Like, yeah, that is different. Into here, here's of course the main mech and everything, which I'm really curious how this works and everything. It looks like there's a motor right there, so probably the arm connects onto there, and then that's how it moves it out. Of course, there's a little motor up here to turn it side to side and everything, and overall, it's a pretty like big building on here. It's actually pretty heavy and everything. Of course, we got another foam piece right there. And the rest of the stuff in here is a bunch of bars. So of course we have 2 there for the base, and then of course 2 more for legs. Seems like that is all. So of course we'll get it set up now. So let's do that. And of course I'm gonna try setting this guy up here in the studio. Of course it's a little bit messier over there to set this guy up with me preparing lots of stuff for the haunted house, but I feel like he should fit here. You know, the space is like pretty square. It should be able to fit right here. So anyways, let's of course get this guy set up. So I'm pointing you down a little bit. Of course, the first step right here is of course with the base. There's of course the 2 different sides right here, they connect together. Of course, both of them are just snap locks. And yeah, they both just slide in there nicely. And of course, just a little snap locks just go in. There we go. And of course, looks like this little piece right here is where the staff will go. So this is probably the front of the animatronic. Anyways, next step right here is of course with these 2 pulls. These are going to be the ones for the legs we got right down here. These again are just little snap locks that these just slide into place. It's interesting that they have the legs like actually like bent and like different angled like this, because the rope covers this all up, so they didn't need to do it like this, but that's still cool to see. Alright, the next step of course is to put the leg foams on each side. Point up the camera a bit now. Next step here is of course going to be to put on the waist piece right here. Of course we got that right there. But of course the next step right here is with this like big mechanism piece right here, which has like the shoulder frame and then all the different connectors on there. Which this piece right here looks like is just going to slide on to the top right here. And that of course will stay like that. It looks like the next step is going to be with the clothing to put on this guy. Which of course you can see we got this big piece right here, which we're just going to need to slide over. And there we go, got that on. There's a little bit of a struggle with like this little like loop part getting over, but eventually got it on there, and now it's pretty much all good. Then of course the next step, it seems, is going to be for putting the arms on this. Of course we got the first arm right here, which is of course the one with the lantern. This one will of course go onto this side right here, which there we go, it goes pretty high above his head right here, which I'll point you up, but you can see right there. Of course we got the arm, so the lantern could use a bit of fixing. There we go, that looks better. And then of course there's a little bit of Velcro here, so we can pull this up. Of course, next side right here, we of course have the other arm to connect. So of course, the one right here, which will connect to the staff. So this right here also has a little cord coming out, of course, go to the light. And then of course, we're going to take one of these little pins right here, and then in the little 4-hook connector on the one arm here that moves. This of course goes in one of the sides with the hole. And then of course, next step here looks like it's going to be with the staff. Which of course, we got the 2 different pieces right here, which looks like there's a little connector on there, and then this piece will go on, which one of these things that you like slide and twist, it looks like. There we go. It's just you slide it on, twist it, and then it's locked in place, and it's pretty seamless the way it goes on there too. Like you can't really tell other than a little crack right there that it's 2 separate pieces. Of course, it looks like K right here. This is the top of it, which will point you down just a little bit to see where we're gonna connect this. Of course, his arm right here, you can see this piece right here will of course go into this. That's another one they sort of like slide in, rotate, and then lock it in place. This of course is a little hole on the bottom of it, which will connect to the base just like that. There's clothing right here, of course. We can pull that over and then Velcro it on. Of course, one of the last steps right here looks to be with the crow head right there, which of course just goes onto the very top right there, and a little piece right there going to slide down, which will of course connect to the eye lights and the mouth movement parts. Last step is of course with the little hood right here. This is going to go just over top of his head right there, and then I think it also stripes over his shoulders a bit. So yeah, this just goes, and there's a little piece of Velcro here on the top. But overall, that's pretty much a set for this guy, so I'll of course get him all looking nice, and then we'll of course do a demo of him. Alright, and now of course I've got him all set up right here. I just have him in the demo mode, so he does only do this one line on the demo mode, but anyways, he's really cool, so let's of course check him out.
The winds of fate whisper my name and empower me with the forces of darkness. Within these fields, the echoes of the past linger like ghosts. I command the shadows to dance. Step lightly, for the cold beneath your feet holds secrets untold.
Alright, and there of course he was in action. Here as you can see, he's on his lights only mold, which is really cool. I like how they added that. So of course, the eyes and the little skull right there light up, his eyes stay lit up, and then of course the lantern right there, as you can see, that sort of stays lit up, and it's sort of like glowing too, which is kind of cool. I like how that is. Yeah, overall, this guy right here is an insane animatronic. I love just so much about him, so let's just go over some of the coolest things I'd say about him. Of course, one thing is the amount of animation on this guy. I love the arm right there, how he sort of like shoves it forward. It's pretty fast, and it's definitely like sort of like a jump scare, which is awesome. Yeah, the mouth right there, which moves, which is pretty cool. Here's the head turned side to side is really awesome too. So there's some awesome animation there. And then the light up features are cool too. I like how the little staff right there has it, his eyes has it. Then of course the lantern right there, it's flickering. I love that too. Then of course the look of him is really awesome. The clothing, you know, it's mainly just back look, but I do like how it adds some of these little like patch details, the rope on it. Just some of that is cool, because lots of other animatronics out there, they don't really add too much with just the plain dark clone, so I like that they did that. Then the addition of the feathery hat right there and everything, or the covering, that's awesome too. Yeah, the detail on like the staff and everything looks awesome. His hands look cool, like a big lantern, then yeah, his head right there. Overall, tons of detail in this guy, and yeah, just so much packed into him. And his height's pretty good too. He's at 6.5 feet right there, which it might even be a bit bigger. I don't know, he seems like a massive one. Like, here you can see he's close to the roof right there, which I think is like, I don't know, it might be like 7 feet up here, so he may be like closer to 7 feet than 6.5, but yeah, he looks insane. I love this guy. And yeah, for only $200, this is definitely one of the best deals I've ever seen for an animatronic. For how much there is going on with this guy, for how big he is and everything, that is an insane price. And yeah, overall, the one thing I'm curious on is if this guy would be considered outdoor rated. It does say outdoor covered on the box, which I don't know. He has the outdoor rated adapter, all the connectors in him are outdoor rated and everything, and it does look like the shoulder piece right there is sort of built to sort of protect the mechanism and everything, so I do feel like he would be usable outside and everything. It's just weird that they say covered, so I don't know, but anyways, this guy right here, I'm probably just gonna have him out Halloween night in the graveyard, but he'll be awesome there. So overall, this guy right here, I think we have to give him a solid 10 out of 10. He's a great animatronic, and honestly, what I'd recommend. So overall, this guy right here, such an awesome one. Alright, and right there, of course, was once again another unboxing, this time of the Raven right there, which is such a cool guy. Which, yeah, of course, this will be one of my last unboxings of the season, I think. The only one I plan to get probably is, of course, the Lantern Keeper from Spirit Halloween. I think he'll probably be my last purchase, and then after him, I may get stuff on clearance, but I don't think I'll buy anything else like full price or anything. But overall, he's a really cool one. He'll be a great addition to the haunt and the graveyard and everything. And yeah, definitely want to recommend from Home Depot. Probably the best one this year, along with the App Skelly, of course. He's a really cool one. So anyways, that's it. Also, next time, please make sure to like and subscribe. Goodbye.